to ask everyone to please stand for the entrance of our special guests, color party, playing of Old Canada.
I see you'll get the people coming in.
Thank you. You may be seated. I'd like to welcome all students, staff, and special guests to our annual Remembrance Day Assembly. This assembly marks a very important day as we remember the soldiers who have made the ultimate sacrifice and for those who continue to do so today. I'd now like to call upon our principal, Ms. Healy, for her opening remarks.
Good morning to our invited guests, parents, teachers, and students. For nearly 100 years, on November 11th, Canadians have been asked to pause and remember the thousands of men and women who sacrificed their lives fighting for freedom and for democracy during the First World War, the Second World War, and the Korean War. We're also asked to acknowledge the Canadian peacekeeping troops who are presently deployed around the world in efforts to promote international freedom and maintain world peace. Each November, Canadians recall the sacrifices of all those who fought for our country. Last weekend, I had the pleasure of hearing former General Rick Hillier speak at a principals conference. And for those of you who do not know General Hillier, he is a Newfoundlander who recently retired from the Canadian Armed Forces. He was often referred to as Canada's top soldier. In his amazing address to the principals of the province, General Hillier referred to the sacrifice of the Canadian soldiers who are currently in Afghanistan. He told us the story of a young soldier who went to Afghanistan and whose vehicle was hit by a mine. That soldier lost both of his legs and had to return to Canada to recover. This happened a few years ago. Today, the soldier is a master corporal and is still part of the Canadian Armed Forces. What is amazing was that soldier's dedication to his country. Even though he's now disabled, he did not leave the forces. Instead, he stayed and worked hard to be promoted. And what is even more amazing is that soldier's wife also signed up with the Canadian Forces, even though she knew firsthand the dangers and sacrifice of signing up. General Hillier referred to our soldiers as heroes, as men and women who have agreed to die for their country. This is what Remembrance Day is all about. It's a time for us Canadians, for the regular boy, girl, man, and woman to be thankful for what it is that these people have done for us and for our freedom. Canadians who went to war years ago believed that our Canadian culture had to be preserved. They believed that their actions would make a difference for the future. Little did they know, though, that their courage and sacrifices would define Canada as one of the most respected nations in the world. It is up to us to ensure that their dream of peace is realized and is maintained. Our effort to maintain peace would ensure that our soldiers did not die in vain. On Remembrance Day, we must acknowledge the sacrifice of those who served our country, and we must acknowledge our responsibility to preserve the peace they fought to achieve. At this time, I think it's only right that we name and remember those Newfoundland soldiers who have lost their lives in Afghanistan. Let us remember Corporal Jamie Murphy of Conception Bay, Sergeant Von Ingram of Burgeo, Warrant Officer Richard Nolan of Mount Pearl, Sergeant Craig Gillam of South Branch, Private Kevin Kennedy of St. John's, Sergeant Donald Lucas of St. John's, Corporal Stephen Buzan of Springdale, Private Justin Jones of Bay Verte, Corporal Kenneth O'Quinn of Happy Valley Goose Bay, Captain Frank Paul of Badger, Corporal Brian Pinkston of Corner Brook. Their ultimate sacrifice should never be forgotten. As Canadian citizens, as Newfoundlanders, each year we must pause on November 11th to remember, so those who suffered war are never forgotten. Let us not forget those who serve our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Healy. The choir is now going to perform in Flanders Fields. on students Rachel Vay, Paul Holly, and Katie Sutton to read poems based on the theme, Why We Remember.
What is in the tear? What is in the tear that rolls from the old man's eye? Could it be memories of the years gone by? Of friends and neighbors joined across this great land, fighting for freedom for us on foreign sand. Does the tear stream from his memories of buddies left behind? Do faces cross through his eyes, images from deep in his mind? Was he a member of the infantry who fought the enemy on the ground? What could be in those simple tears that gently hit the ground? Could he have flown the highest heights and fought the impersonal war, where the odds that you may not come back were at times 1 in 4? Where the fighters took a massive toil, but not as much as the flak. In those tears are memories of men and bombers who didn't come back. Was he in the Navy, bringing vital needs from shore to shore? Things like ammo, food, and clothes, and so very much more. Did he hunt the U-boats from Newfoundland to the British coast? Could there be in the tears memories of the lost boats? I will not know what he did there, but I will be sure of just one thing, that his tears would be in vain, you see. Those tears mean everything. 'Cause with his tears and with his sweat, he fought for our freedom with his youth. And as tears cascade down his face, one goes down mine too.
Were you there? Do you remember? Were you alive? Were you born? I wasn't alive, but we were born, riding on the shoulders of strong Canadians. They didn't fall, they didn't stumble. They were tired, but stronger than ever. They thought of the future, a commitment to freedom. We were all there on Canada's shoulders. I don't understand war, nobody does, but we know freedom deep inside. Brave Canadians who fought to be free in a thing called war. Canada is showing the world that we can love each other, and this is why we remember when we were on Canada's shoulders.
Soldier, soldier, where have you gone? White crosses for acres cover the lawn, giving your life that the world didn't see, so that nations and people could all live free. How could anyone know the horror and fear, when as recruits in the street you danced with good cheer? For off to fight evil you left for that war, but many passed instead through heaven's great door. Sailing miles of ocean, trailing ribbons of foam, farther away every day from your native home. The calamity of battle gave you some pause, but you bravely moved to the line for that one great cause. Remembering good times, having had so much fun, had been replaced morosely with grenades and a gun. The world that was small in your burgeoning youth had become wide open to a frightening truth. No time to reflect on the mysteries of life, just hoping to survive another day for your beautiful wife. Into the cauldron of hell with its scorching fire, pieces of comrades' clothing tangled in the wire. After months without sleep, it suddenly ends. You stop to reflect how you've lost all your friends. Turning then homeward, a new life to begin, the line between terror and safety is so very thin. As you look to the past with heartfelt sorrow, you wonder today, will there be a tomorrow? For over the years, we haven't quite learned the price war costs for the peace you have earned. Soldier, soldier, with us you still stand, having fought for our future in this wonderful land. To the veterans of war, we give you our praise. May God bless you all, our glasses we raise.
Thank you very much, Rachel, Paul, and Katie. Each year, Canadian schools, churches, organizations, and families take part in Operation Christmas Child to bless the lives of children in the developing world. These boxes that we will fill with toys, and you can see them to the left of my left here, schools will be filled with school supplies, toys, hygiene products, and they go to remote corners of the world to bring joy and hope to millions of boys and girls who are the victims of war, disease, disaster, and poverty. For many of the children that receive these boxes, it is the first time they have ever gotten a gift. For some, they will get their first toothbrush. or first pack of crayons. Our school is very proud to be involved in this wonderful program. Please take a look at this short video to get an idea of where these gift boxes that you have donated will go. I'd like to now call upon Miss Joanne Party from the Salvation Army to come forward and accept our Christmas box donation.
Good morning, everyone. It is a privilege to be here with you this morning, and I really appreciate the invitation. What you guys have done in a simple gesture of bringing in a toothbrush or a comb or a pack of candy or all the other things that go in these boxes may seem so simple to you, but the impact that it makes on the world is just an amazing effort. And this shoebox idea started with one person who had a vision for to make the world a better place. And his name was Mr. Bell. And I just wanted to say really that impact that he had has crossed the whole world. And now millions of people all around the world are making the world a better place at Christmas time. You guys may dream of Christmas when you're making your list of cell phones and maybe as big as iPads. And, you know, those things are wonderful things. But when you wake up Christmas morning and you have that wonderful gift of clothes or whatever it be reminded of the child that will open the box that you put together. And she's opening, or he's opening, a box that has a toothbrush. And all he dreamed of that day was a glass of water or a loaf of bread on his table. And now he has this wonderful box of little toys and great things that you guys put together. So when on Christmas morning you are opening that wonderful gift that you have, please keep in your mind the difference that you've made right across the world. It impacts the whole world. And we all have that capacity to change the world. We all, in our little corner of our world here in Newfoundland and Labrador, have a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to make the difference in lives across the world, yes, but across the world is not that far when we think about our own lives right here. Be good to each other. Be happy for each other's accomplishments. Be wonderful. I know so many of you, and I know already you guys are making such wonderful, wonderful differences to each other. Be good to each other. Love each other, and Merry Christmas.
The elementary choir will now perform a selection entitled Think Peace. now going to watch the first of 2 video tributes to our soldiers. This is entitled Little Red Poppy, and it's a tribute to our soldiers, past and present.
To the cause for freedom, and that we must belong, lest we forget a moment of silence and turn our backs on time. So remember the scarlet flower, the little red need to remember, we need to hold on.
It is now my great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for today, Sub-Lieutenant Glor Lau.
Good morning. I'd like to thank honored veterans of the 36th Legion and Sergeant Sloan of the Royal Newfoundland Regiment, Ms. Healy, the principal, faculty, and the students at Mount Pearl Intermediate School. Thank you for inviting me to come to speak to you guys about the Remembrance Week and Veterans Remembrance Day. And those who have served as soldiers in the Canadian Army and as sailors with our Navy and as pilots on the ground, as pilots or on the ground in our Air Force. Hi, my name is Lieutenant Galore Lau. I'm a Naval Logistics Officer in the Canadian Forces, currently posted to Canadian Forces St. John's as the Station Controller. I'm proud to have served Canada for the last 17 years, and within these 17 years, I have traveled across Canada and across the globe. I have deployed at the national level during the flood of the century in Manitoba in 1997, and in 2002, I deployed on Apollo War on Terror for the War on Terror to support the Americans after the 9/11 attacks. The Canadian Army, the Royal Canadian Navy, and the Royal Canadian Air Force are part of the Canadian Forces. And just a show of hands, how many people out here know somebody that are serving in the Canadian Forces? Let's put a few hands. Actually, I'm expecting to see everybody's hands up because you know me, and so that's, as a result, everyone's hand should be up. But as from this experiment you can see, there are people that have touched our lives and have done their service to their country, and each one of them are part of you guys because you know somebody that belongs to the Canadian Forces. These people have served across the Atlantic Ocean in Europe during the 2 World Wars and later in Korea. Others more recently served in the last 20 years in the Balkans, in southeastern Europe, Afghanistan, in Central Asia, and other parts of the world. We call them veterans, and many of them have died fighting for our country, for our right to live in freedom, and for a better future for us, their families, children, and grandchildren. Every year, we remember what our veterans have done for us. We have a special week devoted to them, and a special day, and we all know what that is. It's a Remembrance Day on November 11th. Since Canada became a nation in 1867, 2 million Canadian soldiers, sailors, and air personnel have served their country overseas, and more than 110,000 have now returned and died while serving. During the First World War, almost 100 years ago, more than 65,000 Canadians died, and many more were wounded. This year, we remember their sacrifice, including those who served courageously with the 1st Newfoundland Regiment at the Battle of Somme in northern France on July 1st, 1916. The 1st Newfoundland Regiment joined British and other Commonwealth soldiers on the first day of this major battle. More than 57,000 were killed, injured, or missing. On the first day alone, the 1st Newfoundland Regiment also suffered heavy losses, losing more than 250 men. The courage of these brave soldiers is recognized in a memorial in northern France, and every year on July 1st, and many of yourselves and Newfoundlanders come together and pay special tribute to the incredible sacrifices of these men. During the Second World War, Canadians fought in many parts of the world. More than a million Canadians served, and sadly, 42,000 did not return. We also remember those who served in Korea and on Canadian merchant ships, including the 516 who made the ultimate sacrifice. Over the past 60 years, more than 125,000 Canadian Forces members have served in peacekeeping operations around the world, and approximately 125 have died. We remember their service and dedication. We also remember other veterans, many of whom have served more recently. The term veteran also includes those who are in active service in Canada's forces and anyone honorably released after successfully completing basic training. And while not official, some serving members of the Canadian Forces are also called veterans. Anyone who has served in combat operations in Afghanistan or in the Balkans in most recent years, for example, are considered veteran. And I just want to take this moment just to show my appreciation, our appreciation to Sergeant Sloan, who went overseas in the last 3 years. Sergeant Sloan is sitting in front of me right now. Sergeant, if you could just stand up. And if we just take 2 seconds to give him a hand of applause. mission in Afghanistan, because over the past decade we have lost 158 Canadian Forces members. We have a whole new generation of veterans who need our support and deserve our recognition. Canadians and communities across our country have found different and sometimes unique ways to honor our veterans and their service. Whether by wearing red on Red Fridays, displaying interesting bumper stickers, welcoming home our returning servicemen and women, or working with government agencies at different levels to make public dedications, such as the Highway of Heroes between Trenton and Toronto in Ontario. Canadians have found their own ways of showing their respect. A tribute to Canada's veterans must also include our First Nations and Aboriginal peoples. Over the past 100 years, hundreds of Aboriginal men and women have volunteered and enlisted in the Canadian Forces, serving with honor and distinction. More than 500 status Indian servicemen lost their lives on foreign battlefields during the 2 world wars, and many more were injured. Their heroic acts earning many decorations for their bravery. Today, many Aboriginals serve with the Canadian Rangers, a group of 4,200 members of the Canadian Forces who serve their communities in 7 provinces and all 3 territories, primarily in remote and isolated areas of Canada. Today, members of Canada's full-time regular force, supported by the members of the Reserve Force, contribute in many ways, both at home and around the world. In 2011, Canadian Forces personnel helped with the evacuation of thousands of local residents from communities threatened by wildfires in Saskatchewan and northern Ontario, and by flooding in Quebec and Manitoba. And most recently, in Newfoundland, we witnessed the devastating effects of Hurricane Igor. And as part of the Navy, I was there on the shores of Bonavista, Vista, helping out the local people to recapture their lives after the destruction of Hurricane Igor. So we are here to help you guys too. And despite today's challenging global security environment, the Canadian Forces, along with its government partners, continue to represent Canada around the world. In Afghanistan, we have moved to a new phase with a focus on preparing the Afghan National Security Forces to lead security operations across the country by the end of 2014. Along with its federal partners, Canadian Forces are working hard to secure a future of hope and opportunity for the people of Afghanistan. Canadian Forces participate in efforts to evacuate Canadians and others during the recent unrest in Libya, while also protecting civilians from violence there. Canada is engaged in many peace support operations around the world, including Sudan, Republic of Congo, the Middle East, and Haiti. Like Afghanistan, these missions are focused on helping the local people in rebuilding their lives and their countries. Canada has a strong and proud military legacy. Around the world, at home and in Canada, members of Canadian Forces have served with distinction, protecting Canadians and contributing to international peace and stability. They are proud to serve, and we are proud of their service. This week, and especially on November 11th, we remember the service of our veterans, past and present, and the sacrifices they made and continue to make for Canada. We encourage Canadians to remember the past, celebrate today, and to commit to the future. Part of the future commitment is remembering, and there are many ways to do that and show our respect. By way of its Canada Remembers program, Veterans Affairs Canada encourages Canadians of all ages, and especially youth like yourself, to learn about the sacrifice and achievements made by Canada's veterans during times of war, conflict, and peace to help preserve their legacy for future generations. And with the age of internet, there's a wealth of information on Facebook, Google, Wikipedia. You can find a lot of information if you have some spare time from your studies. So take the time to look it up. It's good reading and a lot of good history. One way of remembering is also to wear a poppy, the traditional symbol of the fallen. Another is to engage and interact with our veterans, past and present. They all have very interesting stories to tell, and if all you have to do is just say hi, and they probably will take the time to talk to you and share their experiences with you. and you'll be surprised at how many wonderful stories they can tell you. So take this time this week to talk to somebody that you see wearing medals. Another very important way to remember is to attend the Remembrance Day ceremony on November 11th. That's tomorrow. Your parents or family will be able to tell you and help you go to these places and talk to veterans like them. Canada is a great country with many freedoms that others in some parts of the world don't have. And our brave veterans helped make it this way. This week, and especially on Remembrance Day, I encourage you all to remember them in some special way. Remembrance Day is the anniversary of the peace that brought an end to the First World War, a war referred to many as the war to end all wars. On the 11th hour, 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, the fighting ceased, and each year since then, at the same time, we gathered together as Canadians to recognize the sacrifices made by so many, remaining silent for 2 minutes to think about our veterans. 2 minutes is too short, but it's long enough to reflect on the great country we live in, that we call home, on the freedom we enjoy to live, as we do, and our pride in our courageous veterans who helped make it that way. It's the least we can do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Lau. We're now going to call upon the choir to perform a piece entitled Kontakion. now ask everyone to please stand for the playing of The Last Post, followed by a moment of silence.
No, what are you doing? Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
I'd like to now ask Mr. Jim Kennedy of the Royal Canadian Legion to accept our school's poppy donation and recite the Act of Remembrance.
Alright, so what do we do? I didn't know if we were sitting down or...
Everybody please stand.
Just want to so I can see it.
Remembrance and responses, we will remember them. They shall grow not old, as we are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We'll remember them.
You may be seated. We'd like to show now our last of two video tributes to Canadian soldiers. It's entitled, If You're Reading This.
If you're reading this, my mama's sitting there. Looks like I only got a one-way ticket away. I sure wish I could give you one more kiss. And war was just a game we played when we were kids. Well, I'm laying down my gun, hanging up my close, and that's okay. Just remember this, I'm in a better place. The soldiers live in peace, and angels sing amazing grace. So lay me down in that open field out on the edge of town. My soul is where my mom always prayed that it would go. If you're reading this, I'm already home.
I'd now like to ask Ms. Power to come forward with our closing prayer.
Let us bow our heads in prayer. Loving God, as we gather here today, our hearts are full of gratitude for our countrymen who serve under arms in wars, fought for freedom, and who serve as peacekeepers with the Canadian Armed Forces. We come to remember those who fell in battle and those who, while they did not die, offered their bodies, their hearts, and energies, fighting for a better world. We ask, Lord, that you give us grace with your presence and that you hear our prayers. Lord, hold our troops in your loving hands. Protect them as they protect us. Bless them and their families for the selfless acts they perform for us in time of need. I ask this in the name of Jesus, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Before we dismiss today, I'd just like to call your attention to the picture on the screen. Mr. McCarthy's going to put it up now. This was a picture sent by Master Corporal Ron Hocko. He's a sister-in-law of our very own Miss Nadine Porter, teacher on staff. This is a picture of all Newfoundlanders currently serving in Afghanistan. And actually, we're happy to say that Master Corporal Ron Hocko is currently on his way home from Afghanistan as we speak. So before we leave, I'd like to ask everyone to please stand for the Ode to Newfoundland and the exit of our color party.
Focus it on them now. They can't run.
right.